Tonight on The Roast, we provide a handy election day survival guide and take a look at the Coalition's 11th hour policy costings. But first, since tomorrow marks election day, let's let Mark Humphries finally place a pillow over the face of this tired, drawn-out campaign.
The Coalition has backflipped on its plan for an opt-out internet filter for adult content and deleted the policy from their website, like a husband who's cleared his search history so his wife doesn't discover he's into shit internet policy. The Coalition released the policy on their website on Wednesday at 5 minutes to midnight, presumably hoping it would go unnoticed. And it did, by its own party.
I mean, that's news to me.
It's an automatic opt-in with an ability to opt out, but it is a compulsory internet filter on Australia. It's similar to the UK model. And it was announced today by your party.
I'll check it out.
It's always concerning when a comedian knows more about your party's policies than you do, and you're made to look foolish on a show which gets its election predictions from a psychic crocodile. Opposition communications spokesman Malcolm Turnbull did know about the policy and defended it on the Triple J program Hack.
The filter will be contained in software installed in either people's smartphones or modems, which can be disabled at their option.
Turnbull should have twigged something was up, seeing as he spent the last several years railing against filters.
It was a really bad idea that could only have come up from people that actually didn't understand the internet.
You heard it here first. Malcolm Turnbull says Malcolm Turnbull doesn't understand the internet. And after huge public backlash against the announcement, Turnbull moved quickly to distance himself from it.
I defended it as best I could, and then as soon as I had an opportunity to ensure that it was withdrawn and corrected, I did.
So to clarify, Turnbull's approach is defend incorrect policy first, correct policy later. But I guess that's what happens when you leave things to the last minute.
I read policy shortly before going on Triple J.
Tony Abbott was cramming as well.
I read the policy last night. Quickly, it has to be said.
Here's hoping they can manage the budget better than they can manage their time. The policy has received a much bigger backlash than the Coalition's plan to reduce foreign aid spending, presumably because foreign aid spending doesn't affect people's ability to search for boobs. And while Tony Abbott has been able to rely on the support of his daughters on the campaign trail, Kevin Rudd's got to put up with this shit from his brother Greg.
Greg, do you think your brother has any chance of winning the election on the 7th of September?
No, zero chance.
That's Greg Rudd there, writing himself out of Kevin's will.
Because the election won't just be a small loss, I think it'll be a larger than small loss.
The word you're looking for is big. Greg's comments are not the first time a politician's brother has undermined them. Bob Katter's half-brother Carl came out in opposition to one of Bob's campaign ads.
When I saw my half-brother's homophobic campaign ad, my thoughts went straight to the young Australians who will see this on TV.
Damn brothers, first they don't let you have top bunk, and then they don't let you run your offensive homophobic ad campaign. And Clive Palmer's half-brother George said this about Clive.
I used to be proud of Clive, but he changed my own mind for me.
The family's falling apart. So much for uniting the Palmers. Looks like China's got the right idea with its one-child policy. For The Roast, I'm Mark Humphries.
Thanks, Mark. Well, we now find ourselves on election eve, which means it's almost time to unwrap our horribly disappointing presents. But it also means it's time for the final instalment of our It's Almost Over election specials. This week, we've already done a series of leadership profiles, so tonight, all that's left to provide you with is a handy guide on how election day actually runs. And it's important to be prepared because voting is harder than it looks. If we look at this ballot paper, if we just, sorry, just 1 second. That's got him. And then I think this page goes into the other. Nah, screw it. You get the idea. Now, if we just, oh no. 3 days, 4 crew members, and 12 sets of scissors to get me out of there. So to avoid that, here's Nick Richardson.
Tomorrow, we all partake in the great democratic right that is voting, a right that millions around the world have fought wars for, and thousands in Australia have been fined up to $170 for skipping. We've heard all about the candidates for weeks now through letters, emails, and attack ad door knockers.
Tony Abbott is a liar.
Now it's our time to make them hear us. For one day through the silent scribbling of numbers before they act like they're deaf for another 3 years. It all starts here at your local primary school, where you'll be swarmed by hordes of how to vote leaflet armies. Aside from the irony of being handed a dead tree slice from the Greens, it's mostly just annoying. So here are 3 handy defences to avoid their irritating advances. Firstly, you can wear a t-shirt to show them you've already made your mind up. Alternatively, one that will make people avoid you. Or you can just straight up refuse the leaflets. You don't need to take those leaflets. They don't take your leaflets. Or you can just take the goddamn leaflets. But just make sure you don't let the leaflet armies make you change your mind at the last minute and vote impulsively. Your democratic right isn't a Kit Kat at a Coles checkout. But once you're inside, it's time to make the biggest decision of the next 3 years. No, it's not the... Why is everyone obsessed with the sausage sizzle? No, it's now time that you choose the person whose face and actions will infuriate you over the next 3 years. And it's here in the polling booth where you'll discover the biggest pros and cons of democracy. You can vote for anyone on this list. But regardless of your limited options, it's your civic duty not to throw away your vote by making simple errors, such as accidentally numbering your preferences in Entish, or not putting your ballot in the box and instead just sticky taping it to the wall with all of Year 4's cellophane fish. And when you're agonising over your decision, be sure to remember the issues that really matter. Don't get distracted by trivial things like who made the better meal on kitchen cabinet, or who has more sex appeal, or who has the most not bad looking daughters. Because remember, it's not a popularity contest, it's an election where the most popular person wins. And that person has the power to control your life until the next opinion poll comes out that tells them they're now slightly less popular, meaning they'll change everything about themselves. Which means it's now up to you, Australia. So tomorrow, go out and vote. You get some fresh air, you can keep your $170, and you'll be allowed to complain about who leads this country for the next 3 years. But if you throw your vote away, don't come crying to me when Prime Minister What's-His-Name ruins your life. For The Roast, I'm Nick Richardson. Oh, and remember, don't tell anyone who you voted for, or your vote won't come true.
Thanks, Nick. Apparently that only works for him. Sorry, everyone, sorry. Finally tonight, the Coalition has released its policy costings. More than 200 policies and 3 years in the waiting, so lay it on me. Yep, just 8 pages. And whilst the decision to release this less than 48 hours before the election has been widely criticised, we here at The Roast had assumed it was just because the Coalition was going to give us an incredible surprise.
Be witness to our precise, well-budgeted policies.
And incredibly surprised we were, but not in the good way. It was more, honey, you know I'm already leaving you, but did you know I was taking the kids too? Surprise! And that's because the policy costings projected an improvement to the budget bottom line of just $6 billion over 4 years and would not match Labor's budget trajectory of a small surplus by 2016-17 either, which made for a much less impressive announcement.
Be witness to our precise, well-budgeted policies.
Yeah, you would have thought an opposition that's been screaming about how we've been financially bashed with a club for the last 6 years might have done something a little more drastic than just take over holding the club. Now, most notably missing from the Coalition's not cuts was the Parliamentary Budget Office's independent costings on 3 of their key policies: broadband, direct action, and the plan to stop asylum seekers coming to Australia by boat. Instead, the Coalition sent those policies to be costed by what they called their Eminent Persons Panel. Because, what, Parliamentary Budget Office wasn't eminent enough?
We're eminent, these costings are really good. Money, money, something, something, ha 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 ha.
Ha 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 ha, it's still not the Parliamentary Budget Office. Plus, with these 3 men locked in the Liberal Party's Melbourne campaign headquarters in recent days, scouring the numbers like some sort of financial Saw movie, you'd have to wonder about the quality of the policy costings that they'd have made.
Fine, it's fine, we've read them. We've costed them now let us out, or at least feed us. We're eminent. Oh, God.
Then there are the policies that weren't examined in the Coalition's costings dungeon, such as cutting $4.5 billion on foreign aid to spend on highways. So next time you're driving on that road that already exists, spare a thought for that person who's eating food that doesn't, thanks to Australia skimping on the world's collection plate.
Coin noise.
Oh, thanks. I'll make sure that gets to the needy. No, I'm just kidding. We love roads here. Good night.
We're eminent, these costings are really good. Money, money, something, something, ha 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 ha.